You say what you mean. You tell the truth. You refuse to play social games, and somehow you are the one who ends up isolated, resented, and quietly removed from rooms where decisions are made. You watch people who lie smoothly, who flatter shamelessly, who say nothing of substance, rise faster than you ever will. You were told honesty is strength. You were told integrity wins in the long run. You were told that good people finish first if they stay consistent. And now you are sitting alone, wondering why the world punished you for doing exactly what you were taught. Here is what nobody told you. Radical honesty is not a virtue. It is a liability. It is a social weapon you hand to others and then stand still while they use it against you. Machiavelli understood this 5 centuries ago. He watched men of principle get destroyed by men of strategy. He watched honest leaders lose power to manipulative subordinates. He watched transparency weaponized and silence rewarded, and he wrote it down not as philosophy but as observation. The world does not reward your honesty. It punishes your lack of control. You are in a meeting. Your boss presents a plan you know will fail. Everyone nods. You speak up. You lay out the flaws clearly, calmly, and logically. You think you are helping. You think you are contributing. But what actually happened is this: you challenged authority in public. You made your boss look incompetent in front of others. You forced him to either admit error or defend a weak position. And even if he says nothing in that moment, you just created an enemy. Not because you were wrong, because you were right at the wrong time, in the wrong way. You gave him a reason to manage you out. Machiavelli would have told you to stay silent in the meeting, then speak privately later if you must. But you did not. You chose honesty over strategy. And now you are surprised when your next promotion goes to someone less capable but more agreeable. You are dating someone. They ask if you find someone else attractive. You pause. You think honesty builds trust, so you say yes. You explain it means nothing. You reassure them. But what they heard was not honesty. They listened to a threat. They listened to a comparison. They heard that you are still evaluating options. You thought you were being mature and transparent. What you actually did was introduce doubt into their mind that will never entirely leave. Machiavelli knew this. He knew that people do not want the truth. They want comfort. They want the illusion of certainty. Your honesty did not build trust. It destroyed peace. And now, every time you are late, every time you look at your phone, every time you are distracted, they will remember that moment. You could have said no. You could have redirected. You could have maintained the frame. But you chose radical honesty, and you are confused why the relationship feels different now. You are with friends. Someone shares a business idea. It is terrible. You know it will fail. Everyone else says it sounds interesting, asks polite questions, and offers vague encouragement. You tell the truth. You point out market gaps, funding issues, and execution problems. You think you are being a real friend. You think honesty is respect. But what actually happened is this: you became the person who kills energy. You became the one who makes people feel small. You became the voice that they will stop sharing ideas around. Not because you were wrong, because you made them feel evaluated instead of supported. Machiavelli would ask you a simple question. What did your honesty accomplish? Did it help them? Did it protect them? Or did it just make you feel superior for 10 seconds before they stopped trusting you with anything real again? This is the pattern. You think honesty is integrity, but what it actually is most of the time is uncontrolled communication. You are not being virtuous. You are being reckless. You are spending social capital you did not know you had. And once it is gone, you do not get it back by being more honest. You get lonelier. Machiavelli wrote that the prince must learn how not to be good, not because goodness is weakness, but because goodness without strategy is suicide. The man who is always honest becomes predictable. The man who always speaks his mind becomes manageable. People know exactly how to manipulate you. They know what questions to ask to get you to reveal your position. They know what buttons to push to make you react. They know you would always tell the truth, which means they control what truth gets spoken and when. You think you are independent. You are not. You are a tool in someone else's strategy. Here is what happens in every social system. Some people control the narrative and the people who react to it. The people who control it are not the most honest. They are the most selective. They reveal only what serves them. They withhold what does not. They shape perception deliberately. And the people who react to it, the people who pride themselves on radical honesty, think they are resisting manipulation. But they are not. They are just playing a role written for them by someone else. The truth teller, the disruptor, the one everyone can point to and say, "See, that is what happens when you do not play along." Have you ever noticed how the most honest people in any group are rarely the most powerful? They are the most useful to others. They do the emotional labor of saying what everyone else is thinking, but nobody wants to be blamed for it. They take the social risk, they absorb the consequences. And the people who stay silent, the people who smile and nod and manage perception, those people rise because they understand something you do not. Power is not about truth. It is about control. And the person who controls what gets said, when and how, is always more powerful than the person who says everything. Let me show you how this works in real time. Someone insults you in front of others. Subtle, disguised as a joke. Everyone laughs. You have two options. Option 1. You respond honestly. You call it out. You say that was disrespectful. You explain why it bothered you. And now what happens? You look sensitive. You look like you cannot take a joke. You handed them proof that they had received it. You reacted. You lost frame. Option 2. You say nothing. You smile slightly. You let the silence sit for half a second too long. You move on as if nothing happened. And now what happens? They do not know if you missed it, ignored it, or are planning something. You created uncertainty. You kept your frame. You did not give them the reaction they wanted. Machiavelli would tell you that the second option is not dishonest. It is controlled, and control is power. Here is another one. You are negotiating a salary. They ask what you currently make. Radical honesty says, tell them. Transparency builds trust. So you do. And now what happens? You just gave them your floor. You anchored the negotiation to your current number rather than your value. They will offer you slightly more than what you make now and frame it as generous. I am looking for a role in this range based on market rate and my skills. You could have redirected, you could have maintained leverage, but you chose honesty. And you are surprised when you get lowballed. You see the pattern now. Every time you choose radical honesty over strategy, you hand someone else a piece of your power. You do it voluntarily. You do it proudly. And then you wonder why you feel weak. Now, let me be clear. This is not about lying. Machiavelli did not tell princes to lie constantly. He told them to lie strategically. There is a difference. Lying constantly makes you untrustworthy. Nobody can work with you. Nobody can predict you. You become a liability. But honesty continually makes you controllable. People know exactly what you will do. You become a tool. The powerful man is neither. He is selective. He tells the truth when it serves him. He withholds when it protects him. He redirects when it maintains his frame. And most importantly, he never explains himself to people who have not earned that access. You are constantly explaining yourself to people. Someone questions your decision. You justify it. Someone doubts your choice. You defend it. Someone misunderstands your intent. You clarify it. And every single time, you are stepping into their frame. You are accepting their authority to evaluate you. You are acting like you need their approval. Machiavelli would ask you why. Why do you owe them an explanation? Why are you trying to make them understand? Why are you giving them that power over you? Here is what the powerful do. They state. They do not explain. They decide. They do not justify. And when someone pushes for more, they smile and say nothing. Or they repeat the same answer. Or they redirect entirely. But they do not explain. Because the moment you explain, you communicate that their opinion matters more than your decision. You give them authority, And once you do that, you can never fully take it back. You think silence is avoidance. It is not. Silence is refusal. Refusal to play a game you did not agree to. Refusal to hand someone authority they did not earn. Refusal to let someone else set the terms of your existence. When you stay silent rather than defend yourself, you communicate a clear message. I do not need you to understand. And that is power. Because now they are the ones wondering. They are the ones trying to figure you out. They are the ones reacting to you. Machiavelli also understood that people fear what they do not understand. The man who explains everything is never worried. He is managed. He is predicted. He is handled. But the man who reveals little, who keeps his reasoning private, who acts without justifying, that man creates uncertainty. And uncertainty creates fear. Not terror, not cruelty. The quiet fear that you may not have them figured out. Perhaps you are not controllable. You may be operating at a level they have not yet accessed. And that fear, that slight, persistent doubt, is what keeps people from testing you. You have been tested your whole life. Every time someone asks you a question they have no right to ask, that is a test. Every time someone pushes a boundary to see if you will hold it, that is a test. Every time someone disrespects you in a small way to know if you will react or ignore it, that is a test, and your radical honesty has been failing you because you keep answering, you keep explaining, you keep trying to make them understand, and all you are doing is showing them that you are manageable. Here is what you do instead. You stop answering questions you do not want to answer, not with aggression, not with excuses. You do not reply. Someone asks where you were last night. You smile. You say it was a good night. You do not elaborate. They push. You repeat the same thing, or you redirect, or you ask them a question back, but you do not explain. Someone asks why you made a particular choice. You say because it made sense. You do not justify. They push. You stay calm. You repeat, or you let silence do the work, but you do not hand them the whole picture because the full image is not theirs to have. You are so used to giving people access to your inner world that you do not even realize you are doing it. You think it is a connection. You think it is authenticity. But what it actually is most of the time is a lack of boundaries. You are letting people into rooms they did not earn access to, and once they are in, they will judge what they see. They will use it against you. They will store it for later, not because they are evil, because they are human, and humans use information. That is what we do. Machiavelli knew that the prince who revealed too much lost respect, not because people hated honesty, but because familiarity breeds contempt. The more people know about you, the more they see your flaws, your doubts, your humanity, and the more they see that, the less they respect your authority. This is why distance creates power. This is why mystery creates value. This is why the leaders who manage perception carefully stay in power longer than the leaders who let everyone see behind the curtain. You have been living with the curtain open your whole life, and now you are wondering why nobody treats you like you are valuable. It is because you gave it all away. You gave them the blueprint. You showed them every doubt, every fear, every vulnerability. You thought that was a strength. It was not. It was a miscalculation. And now you are paying for it in rooms where people do not take you seriously, in relationships where people do not fear losing you, in jobs where people do not worry about replacing you. Here is the shift. You stop volunteering information. You stop explaining your decisions. You stop justifying your boundaries. You stop trying to make people understand you. You start operating from a place of assumed authority. Not arrogance, not cruelty, just calm certainty. You made a choice. That is enough. You set a boundary. That is final. You said no. That is complete. And if someone pushes, you do not defend. You repeat. Or you stay silent. Or you walk away. But you do not negotiate with people who do not respect the first answer. This will feel cold at first. It will feel like you are being distant or harsh. That is because you have been trained to believe that availability equals kindness. It does not. Availability without boundaries equals weakness. Kindness without leverage equals exploitation. You can be kind and still be boundaried. You can be respectful and still refuse to explain. You can be calm and still communicate that you are not to be tested. Let me give you the real-world application of all this. Starting today, you practice withholding, not lying, and not manipulating and just withholding. Someone asks you a question you do not want to answer. You redirect. You give a non-answer. You smile and change the subject. Someone pushes you to explain a decision. You state it once. If they go again, you repeat the same sentence. You do not elaborate. You do not justify. You train people that pushing you does not work. Someone disrespects you subtly. You do not react. You do not explain why it bothered you. You withdraw slightly. You become less available. You let your absence do the talking. And you watch what happens. You watch how people start treating you differently, not because you became cruel, because you became controlled. Machiavelli wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But here is the part people miss. He did not say he hated. He said he was worried. And fear does not come from cruelty. It comes from unpredictability within boundaries. It comes from people knowing you have limits but not knowing exactly where they are. It comes from people understanding that testing you has consequences, but those consequences are not explosive or chaotic. They are cold. They are measured. They are final. You do not yell. You withdraw. You do not argue. You remove access. You do not explain. You stop being available. And that, more than anything, makes people reconsider how they treat you. You have been afraid of being cold because you think it makes you a bad person. It does not. It makes you a person with standards. You have been scared to withhold because you think it makes you manipulative. It does not. It makes you selective. You have been terrified of silence because you think it makes you weak. It does not. It makes you dangerous. Because the person who does not need to explain, who does not need to defend, who does not need to be understood, is the person nobody can control. And the moment you become uncontrollable, you become valuable. Here is what happens in the long term if you ignore this. You stay exactly where you are. You keep being the honest one, the dependable one, the one people vent to, confide in, and then ignore when decisions are made. You keep wondering why you are not respected. You keep thinking it is bad luck, or timing, or the wrong people. But it is not. It is you. It is your refusal to see that radical honesty without strategy is just another form of submission. You are submitting to other people's frames. You are submitting to their need for your transparency. You are submitting to a social contract that benefits them, not you. And until you stop, nothing changes. But here is what happens if you apply this. You start being treated differently within weeks. People stop testing you because testing you stops working. People stop disrespecting you because disrespect is met with withdrawal, not explanation. People stop assuming you are available because you stop acting like you are. You become the person people think twice about before approaching, not because you are mean, because you are selective, and selective people are rare. Rare things are valuable. Valuable things are protected, and protected people are influential. This is not a theory. This is not philosophy. This is how power moves in every social system that has ever existed. Machiavelli documented it in royal courts. You can see it in corporate offices. You can see it in friend groups. You can see it in relationships. The person who reveals the least, who explains the least, who justifies the least, controls the most. Always. And the person who prides themselves on radical honesty is always either ignored or used. Always. So here is your challenge. For the next 7 days, practice withholding, not lying and just withholding. Do not volunteer information that people did not ask for. Do not explain decisions that people did not earn access to. Do not justify boundaries that people should already respect. And when someone pushes, stay calm, repeat once, then stop talking. Let silence do the rest, and watch how the dynamic shifts. Watch how people start respecting you more when you give them less. Watch how power flows toward the person who refuses to play by everyone else's rules. If this made sense, if something in you recognized the game you have been losing, hit subscribe. Please share this with someone who is too honest for their own good. And if this hit you, write, "I am the strategist," once in the comments to mark the day your mindset changed. You are not the person who explains anymore. You are not the person who justifies. You are not the person who hands power away in the name of transparency. You are the strategist now. And strategists do not reveal the whole hand. They play it.